Welcome to Speedy Setups. I'll be starting with the artifact this time, because that's where the idea came from. Under the implement of curiosity, there's a nice little 1-star perk called Horde Shuttle. This perk makes unraveled targets into threadlings, which partners with the swarmer's exotic legs to form a loop. Threadlings unravel targets, unraveled targets make threadlings. That's what we're doing here today. We're letting the kiddos out to play, and they're gonna grow big and strong. Now, as a proud parent to a million little green caterpillars, I feel empowered to tell others how to raise their kids. First, you'll want to fill out this artifact with as much threadling support as you can. Unlike in real life, child support here is fairly inexpensive, with just 2 total mods to slide, both in the 1-star pool. Next to Horde Shuttle, you'll want Pack Tactics. This mod makes threadling damage ramp up approximately 50% at maximum stacks, which you might be intimidated by before I tell you that the maximum stacks is 2. 2 threadling hits, and then you activate the second perk, where threadlings break unstoppable champions. Yes indeed, these kiddos eat unstopped champs for breakfast. It's also incredibly easy to keep up the buff because it lasts for 10 seconds and refreshes anytime the kids jump someone. Let's move on to how you'll be having all of these kids with the Weaver's Call aspect. Activating your class ability immediately makes 3 threadlings, and dealing damage generates threadlings passively. Now in my testing, threadlings get generated fairly often, and generation is based on damage, not hits. See here, each Yellowhorn rocket makes a threadling, while it takes about 2 magazines of pulse rifling to make one. It also seems to be the case that any kind of damage you deal counts, including other threadlings. This is nice, but I'm looking to be the progenitor of generations, not a mom and pop outfit. So let's talk about my actual outfit. This build is not reliant on any particular armor set, so I've been trying a few out. The Thunderhead set from Neomuna was fun because it causes unraveled targets to return grenade energy. I recommend this one if you like the threadling grenades. I also tried the Yearning Echo set from Grasp of Avarice, which causes tangles to deal more damage. More on that in a second. The final armor set with strong synergies that I should mention is the Flame set from Sundered Doctrine. Tying threadling generation to damage taken and giving threadlings lifesteal when your shields break sounds very enticing. It just needs to come up in the rotation as a featured dungeon someday. Now all 3 armor sets were nice, but no set bonus felt like a must-have, so feel free to keep wearing Smoke Jumper. The same, however, is not true for the Swarmers. These pants are necessary to make the build work. In addition to the unraveling effect I mentioned earlier, they also make it so that tangles spawn a pair of twins when you pop them. This creates a second angle that you can approach parenthood from, and therefore your second main mission as a parent is to spawn tangles and pop them ASAP for more kiddos. There are 3 mods that accomplish this purpose in the artifact. Threaded Blast, which makes destroyed tangles explode violently, Elemental Coalescence, which makes any defeated target have a chance to create a tangle on death, and Tangled Web, which creates a suspending detonation, not when a tangle is destroyed, but rather when it's created. In combination, these 3 mods transform tangles from a mediocre subclass pickup to one of the best. Any tangle you create becomes a debuff explosion followed by a nuke. And don't forget, thanks to the Swarmers, you'll make twins to follow up by seeking out a new group of enemies. Those threadlings will sever and unravel anything they hit, which creates more tangles, another looping synergy. Now normally tangles have a 12-second cooldown before you can create another one, so let's talk about the second aspect for this build, the Wanderer. I'll skip over the first part and just go straight to this. Threadling final blows create tangles or reduce your current tangle cooldown. Now for my testing this is about a full second per kill, but I did skip a part, so let's see if that's any good. Thrown tangles create a suspending burst, destroying a tangle creates a suspending burst after a short delay. Well, by my count, that makes 3 explosions per tangle. I'm in. In short, all roads lead to threadlings thanks to the Swarmers. I'm getting all of the strand debuffs very frequently. Threadlings will sever and unravel anything they attack, while tangles suspend when created and then suspend again when exploded or thrown. Also they explode. That gives you options when it comes to subclass fragments. In my opinion, there are 2 must-haves. Thread of Rebirth to spawn threadlings from strand rep and kills, and Thread of Evolution to make threadlings into even bigger damage dealers. The other 2 I have slotted in are Generation for more grenades and Continuity so that strand debuffs last longer. This one is really nice for the big enemies that get tagged by tangles or can tank a few threadlings. Moving on, the armor mods. This build does not need much help from armor mods, so I focused on trying out some stuff I usually don't. To that end, I've slotted in Powerful Attraction to make it a strong option to run up to enemies and drop a rift in their face. I've also slotted Absolution and Orbs of Restoration in the legs so that the orbs will give the appropriate ability energy when I pick them up. This combines with Focusing Strike on the arms to regain rift energy very quickly. The rest is fairly standard, with Siphon mods and defensive mods to round everything out. You could always go the Surge mod route, but your Threadlings will be doing most of your big damage anyway, so ability regen in the legs just ended up being the way to go for me. So to recap, the artifact is Implement of Curiosity with Pack Tactics, Horde Shuttle, Threaded Blast, Elemental Coalescence, and Tangled Web. The subclass is Strand with Weaver's Call and the Wanderer. 2 of the 4 fragments must be Rebirth and Evolution. You can technically run this build on Prismatic, but the Wanderer makes a big difference for Tangle generation, and similarly, you'll want the Swarmers with basically any armor set bonus you like, but there's a lot of synergy with the Thunderhead and maybe the Flame sets in particular. I recommend building into class, super, and weapons, stat-wise. Alright, let's talk the weapons. Basically, any Strand weapon with Hatchling will do you perfectly. If you want to go all in on rifts that make Threadlings, you'll want something that rolls both Strategist and Hatchling together, however. That narrows down the options quite a bit, with Last Thursday from Kepler being your only primary ammo option. It's a good pulse rifle, I recommend it, regardless of this build. Alternatively, there exists one option each for special and heavy weapon slots. The Call micro-missile sidearm from the Pale Heart is craftable, and is just a good weapon in general, on top of being a very straightforward farm, while the Qua Vinctus 4 machine gun from the Crucible is a more long-term commitment. Have at 'em. You may notice I have not mentioned any exotic weapons. That's for 2 reasons. 1, any weapon with Hatchling works to make this build go. If you want to lean into that more, then Service of Luzaku is the one for you. Honestly though, this build is so good at ad clear already that it just feels like overkill at that point. Instead, I recommend running your favorite solar exotic and adding Cauterized Darkness into the artifact. To close, I think you'll like letting the kids out to play with this build. You can't quite sit back and let them do all the work, but I've lost count of how many times I've whipped around in combat to find a pile of ammo and dead enemies buried under a fresh tangle. Try it out for yourself, and good luck on the hunt for that one Last Thursday roll if you're going for it. I love when guns have a unique aspect like that. The rest is just gameplay.